Hello, it's Cindy Tauchar with Around the Town in the South, and I'm here today with Darden North. And we've been kind of off for a while, so I haven't been on stopped for Christmas. And so Christmas is over now. It's been over for a while, so I've got to get back in the swing of things. But so the first person this year I'm interviewing is Darden North. And Darden and I used to be in the same kind of social circles for a while. We were kind of hanging out, and then our lives just kind of took us in different directions. And him and his wife Sally, he has the cutest wife.
Thank you.
She's precious. In fact, I was telling somebody the other night that I was going to interview you, and they said, "Oh, is that Sally's husband?" Which I know that's how you want to be.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sally's husband. But she's one of those people who, like, perfect hair, perfect outfit.
Wow.
She's perfect all the time, and you just wonder, does the wind not ever blow in her path? Because her hair's never messed up. She's adorable and precious. But so anyway,
we have a grandbaby now, and
I didn't realize
4 months old. Huh?
Oh, fun! Isn't it the best?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, little girl.
Oh, and I have 2 boys, so which is I always say that saves me money, because if I had a girl, the clothes are so cute. I know you would be shopping for clothes all the time. No.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Boys can be expensive too, I think.
I think as they get to be teenagers is when they get to be the expensive. But anyway, but fun. And so, but I ran into him, and it's been longer than that.
I think about 10 years or so. Yeah.
But I saw him at, I think, Mistletoe, and you were autographing books, and I was like, you wrote a book? And because Darden is not only an author writing books, he actually has a job, and he's a OBGYN here in Jackson, Mississippi. So I'm wondering, do you sleep?
I do. I sleep. I do sleep. I do.
It's amazing, because I think I don't have time to get my laundry done, and he's like writing some books, like it's I've got a book. So I was really impressed that what made you did you always want to write books, or is that something you've always liked, or is it just something that came to you and thought, I think I'll try it?
Cindy, do you want the funny answer first on that? The funny answer is that I was just so talented, it just had to happen. Just had to come out. But no, that's not true. But I started getting interested in reading some of the new Mississippi authors. This is when John Grisham was really getting popular, and Greg Iles was on the scene. I went to Lemuria, a local bookstore in Jackson, and just said, I'd like to read some Mississippi authors. And so of course, had read some John Grisham, but I started reading some Greg Iles, and thought, I think maybe I could do this too. And I didn't think there were really very many doctors, practicing physicians out there writing novels.
Right.
And there are more than you think, particularly in the last few years, but got interested in it, and had my writing education was a minor in English at Ole Miss, along with my chemistry and all that stuff, and decided I could do it, and had a little background with my mother had been an English teacher. My wife, Sally, you mentioned, was an English teacher. But anyway, I decided I could do it, and most doctors think they can do anything, and jumped right in there. And then fortunately, when House Call came out in 2005, which was really sort of a 10-year process to get that written and get it out, people liked it and read it. And I guess I assumed people would. And then by the time it was out, I'd written the second book, and it just kept going. Now I have 5 books out.
Now, they're not all like off of each. It's not like a series. You have 5 books with 2 of them do kind of have the same characters, though, right?
The first 3, I do tell people that they are standalone novels. Now, then I tell the person who's looking for a television series, yes, we can make them all into one television series. So, but no, they are standalone novels, and some of the characters do repeat, but one character may be the protagonist or the major character in one novel, and then more of a minor character in the next novel. So in House Call, Points of Origin, and House Call, Points of Origin, and Fresh Frozen, you do have some of the same characters. And then my most recent novels, Wiggle Room and The 5 Manners of Death, really have all new people.
Okay, okay. Because this is the latest one. This is the Five Manners of Death. I got this for Christmas, and I haven't started it yet because I haven't sat still long enough. But anyway, I'm looking forward to reading it, and but and there I'll have the southern backgrounds. And
what's different about my books is they all have scenes in Mississippi or based in Mississippi. They are contemporary novels, which means they're more about the South now. We're not, we all have history, but really I try to portray Mississippi in a good light. Of course, there's a lot of bad people in the books. They have to be. If you have a mystery and a thriller, you've got to have some bad people.
It would be kind of boring if everybody
Yes, but as far as, it's about, the contemporary South. And the novels are distinct to the South because there are some mannerisms of certain characters that are very typical, but some of the stories could have taken place easily other places too. But I've been proud of that, trying to portray that.
Yeah.
In the new book, The 5 Manners of Death, I did have a retro scene back to the mid-'60s actually in Oxford at Ole Miss. And that was fun because I had to do a little research to kind of mention the restaurants, but that was integral to the story to have that happen.
Oh, that's it. That is fun because I know that's your stomping grounds.
So. It is.
Yeah.
But Mississippi State folks read my books.
Okay.
So
they do.
Anybody else.
They do. I'll attest to that. But but now you actually have won some awards.
I have.
And I don't know. I was like reading before I came here the award. I didn't. What is IPI?
IPI. That's Independent Publishers Book Association. I'm not sure exactly why they call it IPI, but Points of Origin, my second novel, did win an award for Southern Fiction, and that is more of a nationally recognized organization, international too. And I was so proud to get that, and I really didn't understand the magnitude of it, but until Carolyn Haynes, who's a well-known author, Southern author, from Alabama, she said, "You mean you got an IPI?" And so when she said that, I thought, that must have really been something.
And that was just your second one?
That's my second book.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And the other books have gotten some awards too, but I've just been, you don't write to win awards, but it's always nice to be recognized sort of objectively too.
Now, how do you get your stories? I mean, and I know everybody probably asks you this, like, and you probably won't tell me if it's true. But okay, so like, are there people we know around town in these books? Then we just get a different name.
In the front of each book, there's always that disclaimer: all characters are fictional. But I mean, you have to just think it would be common sense that if you're writing, that the people you interact with, the things that you see, and maybe some current events, all sort of get woven into a story. And there'll be. The 5 Manners of Death came to me. I was at a writing conference and heard someone talking about the 5 Manners of Death. I never thought about that, the ways to classify death, the way the medical examiners do. And I thought that was very interesting. And, Wiggle Room, I wanted to write really more of a thriller. And it's not a war story, but it does begin in Iraq and it comes back to Jackson. And so just different things happen. And a medical conference gave me the idea of Fresh Frozen, and then Points of Origin. There was something that happened in my neighborhood that gave me the idea of that. And then House Call, I had the characters in mind really from my years of being a medical school and resident and OBGYN physician, and then I eventually got the idea when I heard about a male who had been fired of sort of reverse sexual discrimination.
Oh,
and I worked that in there. So anyway, that's what's fascinating about writing, because you can pretty much control the world, laptop.
Yeah. So when you write, do you just have the whole story figured out and just put in the details, or do you just start and go where it takes you, or both?
I wish I had the whole story figured out. That would be, just I think so easy. I have gotten, as I've written, to be a little bit better about having more of a plotted outline, not rigid at all. I may have one character planned to be the whodidit, and then turn out and decide to change it to somebody else. And I think that's what can make my novels have a real twist to them, because I've sort of led somebody down a path and then we change it. But if there are writers that say they have a novel or a book completely outlined down to the last page, and that would really be easy, but then it would sort of be boring too. So, but when I finish each writing session, I do have sort of a spring point to start, when I get back.
Yeah.
I have some notes and things. So.
Yeah. So, okay. I know, and this is probably like asking about children, but do you have a favorite?
That I think the favorite book is whichever one somebody's looking at the time. But I do like, I think Points of Origin, I do answer that as sort of a favorite story because there are a lot of things going on in there at the time that I identified with. But, you know, The Five Manners of Death, I really think that's just a really great story, and was fascinating to me. But, you know, I like them all.
Yeah.
But,
so now you said the first one took you 10 years. Obviously, the other 4 did not take 10 years, so we wouldn't be talking about the 5th one. So you get them out faster now, or do you just have so many stories in your head too? I mean, how many do you have working at the same time?
Somebody, when this last one came out, said, "Have you ever written more than one book at a time?" And I said no, but I thought, you know, that really might be a good idea. So I actually started the one that I'm working on now and 2 others. So I really have 3 novels started, and then the one that I'm over halfway through writing now is I said I've got to go and get that finished, and it's based a little bit more on a true story than others. So, but anyway, I do have several going, and then people come up to me all the time and you know, say they have great ideas for a novel and whatever. Mm-hmm. Some of them are pretty good ideas.
Oh,
and
so
you know, you really wish you would. You know, I wish I had more time because some of these are really pretty good ideas. I've heard that other authors say, "Well, why don't you write it if it's such a great idea?" But
now, do you schedule time to write, or do you just like? Because I'm thinking you're probably a little bit more disciplined in probably in your whole life. But I would think I would just be going, oh, there's a good idea, and I'd jump out of bed and go do it, or like stop what I'm doing. I mean, is it a little bit both, or what?
I keep, you know, notes on my iPhone now. I used to have little stickies and things in my white lab jacket and things like that. They say that if you do have an idea about your book or a future book, write it down right then. Because you will not remember it later. You will not be able to recall it. And I keep potential character names in my book because I hear great names. And you go to weddings and see the wedding bulletins, and those are great names to, you know, just in there. Sometimes the names come first before the character does. So for me, I don't get up in the middle of the night to go write, but sometimes, you know, I'll stay up a little bit late than I maybe should because there's something, you know, really good going on in my brain at the time.
Yeah, you just don't want to lose it, I guess.
And, you know, because I am a physician and work full-time, I have not slowed down my practice one bit and don't want to, because I love being an OBGYN physician, but I get up so early already to be at the hospital by 7 most days. It's hard to say I'm going to get up at 5:30 and write when you get up at 5:30 just to get up.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be easier to regiment myself to get up earlier and then go to bed earlier. I think you probably are a better writer first thing in the morning once you've had some coffee.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a morning person, but I'm not a night person either. I think I'm a like early afternoon person. I haven't found my time of day yet, and I'm getting older. I need to figure it out.
When that is, I use the weekends a lot to catch up to with writing, and you know, you can get a lot done. You know, if you wrote a page a day, you'd have a book done in a year if you wanted a 365-page book. But, you know, you can sometimes get, you know, if you get 3 or 4 pages written in a day, that's a pretty good day of writing.
Okay, now this one is on audio, right?
Yes, I've got.
Which one? There's some of them
we
on
have,
audio.
The Five Manners of Death just came out on audio. It's through audible.com, which is also iTunes and Amazon. And then Fresh Frozen is also on audio, as is Points of Origin. And then my first novel, House Call, will be coming out in audio within the next several weeks. So they'll give 4 or 5 of them on audio. Yeah,
I'm an audio person. I love to take the time to sit and read a book, but I don't have a lot of free time. So I love listening to a book on, you know, the way to work and on the way home. And, you know, that's kind of my preferred method lately of how I can get a book finished. But
me too.
Which one's going to be the first movie?
Well, there's been talk about Fresh Frozen being a movie for about 10 years. And, you know, there was a book written in 1840 that came out in the movie, you know, the last few years. So it may in 100 years from now. But I personally think The 5 Manners of Death would be a great movie. I think any of them would be. And actually, the way that I write now is a little bit faster paced.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they'll even tell you ought to write, if you're writing a novel, a thriller, or a mystery, each chapter ought to be like an episode of a television series. And if you think about it that way, it's a good way to write, because it kind of leaves you at the end of the chapter wanting the person to come back next week or keep binging on the show and read the next chapter. So, but you know, I'm always talking to people about it, and any producers out there, I'm ready to talk to. I think to me that would be, you know, you have to decide why you want to write. I like writing. The fact people, you know, read my books, purchase my books, that's even better. But I think to me, to see it produced and to see someone else's take on it, or someone acting out one of my characters, I just think that would be the neatest thing.
I do too.
So
that would
neat.
be so much fun. Like,
It's so neat. I do know that, you know, it may not be exactly the way you wrote it, but still, I think it would be great. Be great.
Well, neat. Okay, so what are you reading? Like, as if he has time to read, but.
I actually do more audiobooks, like you said, between you know, working full time as a physician and then writing. But I used to actually read more, you know, paper books. But I do a lot of audiobooks. I've been listening to James Lee Burke lately, and I have to say that when I listen to a novel or read a novel or even watch a television show or movie, I'm actually sort of absorbing how they've written it, how they put it together. And I think that helps me. But I basically, you know, read those kinds of things. I'll sometimes read a John Grisham novel, or but I'm kind of interested in James Lee Burke right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me ask you. This is just an off-the-wall question, but what's your latest obsession? Do you have a podcast, a Netflix show, or a hobby or something that's kind of your obsession lately? How you kind of go through phases with. Probably your grandbaby. If it's only 4 months old.
Grandbaby's really interesting. I do exercise. I walk. I've actually joined it's called the Walking Group. It's a group of guys that have been walking at night for 11 years.
Oh my gosh!
And they
know some of those.
They walk about 4 miles a day. We walk at 8:30, Sunday through Thursday, and there's a Sunday course, Monday course. It's not far from where I live, and I have really enjoyed doing that because it gives me some different people to be around. You know, I'm kind of around the same people at the hospital all the time. We do a lot of work out at Women's Hospital, and there's, you know, a smaller group, and the doctors in my office and that kind of thing. So it gives these guys are accountants and lawyers, and you know, work for the city of Flowood, just different kind of people. You know, young like in 20s, older like, you know, some other people. So that's been really, really neat for me. And you have to keep up. You know, you just have to stop to tie your shoe. You got to run to catch up with them. So I really enjoy doing that. And I sort of get on the latest, whatever the latest, you know, show is. And, you know, Outlanders is just a great television show. I've been binging that. You need to. That is good.
Yeah.
And just did the show that Patricia Arquette got the Golden Globe for. I can't pronounce the name of the prison, but it's, you know, Escape from whatever that prison was. All those shows. And my son William is real good about letting me know something new that's come on. But you know, we work in the yard, and I walk with my wife Sally, and you know, we're just in our house. So I really I have a lot of things going on, and then there are always some very fascinating things we do in our medical practice, new techniques and treatments that are coming out, and I try to stay current with those, and keeps life very, very interesting. It really does.
Well, fun. Well, listen, thank y'all for joining us today. I do want to thank Village Boutique for being our sponsor today. I talked to Dana earlier today. She's just the cutest thing that owns Village Boutique, and she was telling me they are getting new spring things in every day. You need to tell Sally to go. And all of the fall and winter things are daily going on to the sale. Of course, the spring things you could wear today in January, because we don't get to wear the winter. You can wear the winter clothes first thing in the morning, switch all day. I wish we just kind of had like one day where you could know
good
what
for
to
the
wear.
dress shop if that's
Yeah,
what sell too.
yeah, you need some of everything every
Yeah.
day. But go by Village Boutique in Madison to see what all they've got there, and go to dardennorth.com.
Yeah.
And you can see, can you order the books from your website, or it just
You
tells you where you can
I
go?
put different links to the bookstores here and online. And one thing I want to say is really very important when you're reading a book or any kind of entertainment, art things. If you can leave a review, particularly if you liked it.
Yeah.
A review is really, really good for, like I love getting reviews for my audiobooks or my written books. And, you can usually tell if the person really read it and, if the review matches up to the stars they gave you, but it really means a lot. And they say there's, any review is a good review. So I hope you'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, okay, and that just made me think of a different question. Like when the audiobooks, do you get to pick the person who reads it?
Yes, I actually auditioned some people, and they're really great. I've had a woman read one of my books, men did the others, and they're from New York or California, so they don't pronounce things exactly the way we do. And you have to correct kudzu and some of the town names, and most Southerners don't say neither and either; they say neither and either. So we have to get that kind of straight.
Yeah.
But they have again, it's interesting to see their take on the characters and how they do the characters.
Yeah.
So, but I know I'll be listening to House Call this weekend because the narrator has finished it. So I'll be have an opportunity to get some changes if things need to change. But that's a fun process. It's interesting.
Yeah, I always wondered who got to pick the person who read it, because
I think
that really gives you to me, when I hear the voice, it puts an image of the person in my head.
Right.
And I have before read a book and then listened to it on audio, and I'm thinking, oh, that doesn't sound at all like I had to redo the person in my head.
Yeah, you'll definitely get the listener definitely gets a little different, idea of the book, I think, versus reading it. But I think that's
so neat. Well, thank you so much
Cindy,
for doing this with
for
me today. And
me.
y'all, let's support our Southern and Mississippi artists and our authors and all of our artists. But I just love, I'm so proud of Mississippi. I just think we have so much talent here. And I really do accredit it to having a slower paced lifestyle that we just kind of tend to, not be so stressed and running. We have time to stop and think and do these, to express your talents.
And I hope your listeners and watchers will support their local bookstore. And there are a lot of other local venues that sell books and art, and I think it's really important to support those people.
It is. It is.
It really is.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. I enjoyed this, and we'll be seeing you around the town.
Thank you.